But today we must take a wider look. Because of modern communication and modern technology, the whole world has become our neighborhood. And we are demographically moving closer and closer to each other, and we've become a neighborhood without becoming a brotherhood.
Journeyman is a platform where men can lay down their titles, grow together, learn from each other, and be accountable to each other. Many of us deal with several problems throughout our lives, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. At times, we may feel alone in our troubles. However, Journeyman is a space where you can feel safe expressing yourself with other men that are on the same path. Journeyman is a space for people like myself who never thought they would be living purposefully in their life.
Man, we're
back. Memories already.
Hey,
that's it. Hold on.
I don't remember that being that way.
Come on, man.
All right.
Oh man, it's not the weekend yet. It's kind of pre-weekend, but
yeah,
man,
it's getting there. It's getting there.
The reason why this beat is going, man, we'll tell you a little bit more about that, man. But welcome to Sharpen, fellas. If you're tuning in today, do us a favor, hit the comments and let us know where you're watching in from. And as we get followers coming in, or if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for tuning in. We try to come in every second and fourth Thursday of the month to bring you a special guest that we believe is living out the mission of what Journeyman is about. And so Sharpen is just a tool, just an avenue for other men to see kind of what this really can look like in your life if there's some relation to some of the stories that you hear. So man, I'm super excited, man. Thanks for joining me. Brother Patrick is back in the room. He's
back in the house.
He's in the room. Appreciate you, Brother Patrick.
Yeah, I'm here.
How was your week, man? How was your week?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Everything's really good. Everything's really, I have nothing but good things to say. And I'm ready for some warm weather.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get into my my Beach Boy shorts. Man. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to bust out that coconut oil and get a tan.
Put that weekend music.
I know, man. Hey, I'm trying to get it done.
That.
I'm trying to be in the sun and turn me over when one side is done. Get that tan line, but this
is
weather,
Sharpen, man. This is how we do.
This weather, I'm done with it.
I'm done with it too, man. I'm really looking forward to the sunshine, man. But man, I'm super excited to have you back in the room, man. Thanks for being here. And before we get further into who we got today, I want to thank our tech person, Zeke. He's in the back. He's making sure that the camera's good and it's all well. Yeah. Pretty soon he'll be leading this thing, hopefully soon.
Is the camera good right now, Zeke?
It's good.
I wore my Andre the Giant. I wore my
man.
Andre the Giant shirt. So I know, brothers and sisters, whoever's watching this, we're gonna have a great conversation.
Yeah. Andre, I remember Andre.
But I just want everybody out there, your favorite Andre the Giant match. Yeah. Put in the comments.
Put it in the comments.
We're gonna talk about life and men and loving the Lord. We're gonna do all that, but I gotta know. And if you don't put Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 3, then there's something wrong with you.
Hey, man, I think I watched that one. Yeah, I don't know how old it was, but I think I watched it.
You were like 4.
Maybe.
Never mind.
Anyways, man, super excited to be here tonight, Sharpen. Thank you all for tuning in. And those who are watching, and do us a favor, go ahead and hit the share button, hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, we're also streaming through the center page. If you're watching us through center page, it's because we have your pastor in the room. So that's the reason why we're tuning in. Journeyman is taking over your social media page just for today. But we wanted to get the word out and this amazing story that we got tonight, man. So what is Journeyman, man? Well, we don't know. I'm just kidding.
We've only had massive amounts of months to figure this out, and then
still on a journey.
We kept going. We keep going like this.
Yeah, no set. No, man. Journeyman is just a platform for men to really just lay down their titles and really just kind of get to know one another. We use that scripture, Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, one sharpens another. But the idea about what we are and who we are, what it is really just a space for men to come together and really learn from each other, establish some commitments and accountability with one another, especially with it ourselves. We want to step into the arena of facing the issues that we deal with and holding ourselves accountable towards that. And so we're working towards that as a group of men, and we feel that this section of Journeyman Sharpen is really just a platform to hear other stories and other things that men are up to that we believe are living out the mission. Friend, Pastor Antthony, but man, number 10. Yeah. Hopefully 10. That'd be awesome.
I know, right?
We're some organic conversation to you all in regards to stories and things. We just want to have fun.
Yeah.
So, Antthony Bargas, man. So tell us a little bit today so people can understand, who you are. So, Antthony Bargas.
Oh,
He's trying to make me more Hispanic than I am.
I'm trying to give it to you, man.
Yeah, no, I know. So we'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
We'll let you run that way.
Yeah.
I'm married to a beautiful wife now for 28 years.
Oh,
Yes.
wait, wrong one.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Sorry.
Anyhow, I've been married now to a beautiful wife for about 28 years now. Got two grown kids, one boy, one girl. My son's going to be 24 this year. My daughter will be turning 26.
Okay.
And that's a
Wow.
little bit about part of me.
You have grown folks.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I'm just getting older. That's all that means. But I grew up in the Bay Area. Been there the majority of my life, and then actually grew up with my dad, but he'd been married quite a few different times. So I don't know what that looks like, other than had about 4 different moms, I think it was. Yeah, growing up in the Bay Area, moved from house to house. Moved up quite often.
We'll kind of get you along with it.
Yeah.
Jose, how do you know Antthony?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. So I met Antthony through City Ministry Network. Myself and a couple other people were doing some work out in this community, and we found this place. Like, entered into Southside.
That is.
But
he hit the right button too. Actually, that did work pretty
See,
good.
it worked.
Man.
Yeah, that was
Getting
that
better.
was a good one.
Right.
Okay, so we found this place, and it was which is now called the Center Church. And we started connecting, just having coffee, just learning one another, and just started seeing his heart for the community. And from that moment, man, we just started hanging out. That's
How long ago was that?
It's been
6 or 7 years, maybe more than
at
that.
least, yeah.
Yeah, maybe more than that. So 2015, maybe. Yeah. So wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been a while.
8 years. Hey, you took my hair off, man.
Well, and then we took that journey on the Leadership Academy.
That's
together
right.
as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, we spent time together a lot, walking and so forth. So that's how I met Pastor Antthony, man. Cool dude.
How did you meet me?
Yeah. So
I don't remember how.
I know I was hitchhiking. Such a lovely man, and thank you so much for picking me up on that. Anyways, City Ministry Network.
Yeah, that's right.
He was always there, and really always I don't know how it happens. Always the first one to greet me when I came in.
Yeah.
You just happened to just be there,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Well, if I'm going to keep seeing this guy, I better ask him his name."
Yeah.
But that, and then GSL. There was a global leadership
GLS, yeah.
GLS. I'm sorry,
right.
GLS Global Leadership Summit that we attended together. And well, I attended and I didn't know anybody, so I just I seen you somewhere else. So we're gonna hang out. It's like that kid at lunch that has nobody to sit with, but somebody at least was nice to them, so they sit with them. And so yeah, we met there, and I would watch you and your humbleness. You know, I would just see you with other people, and you know, knowing you now, I know the titles and I know some of the things that you're doing that hopefully we're able to touch on, but you would never know it by meeting you. You would never know the amazing things that you're doing and the humbleness of your congregation and the humbleness of what you're doing in the community. And I was really drawn to that, and it's just it's an honor to know you. It really is, and especially in your humbleness. So
yeah, no, that's good, man. Yeah. So before, we kind of meant it that way, but before, like, let's talk about, you were in the Bay Area. You said you couple a little bit. You had 3 different mothers, right? Is that what you kind of said?
Well, my dad was actually married 6 times.
6 times. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay. And how many siblings do you got?
I have three stepsisters and 2 other stepbrothers, and then one brother.
Okay. And so, what high school did you go to?
Andrew Hill. That's where I graduated.
Where's that from?
Where's that from?
Where is that?
Where's that from?
Who is that from?
It's in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about after high school, when you graduated. Like, what was your life like then?
Well, my life was probably like, how would I say, very restless. I always like to think of just my life being restless and searching for something. So in that searching just led me to being involved in all kinds of messy things, I would say, that weren't benefiting, that was not beneficial to me when I look back now. But
so through those periods of high school years, past high school, struggling with different issues, right? I mean, what were some of the main ones that you felt like were distracting you? Did you go to college?
No. I went to seminary. Not to college. Yeah.
Okay. So before you got to seminary, what was your life like, man?
So in between that, I suppose again, just the restless and the searching that led me into just different activities. But I want to say this too, though. Like, there was a period in there that when I talk about my wife and I being married for 28 years, and even in this searching of trying to find rest for my heart, my wife and I, we were separated for about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of a journey too, as well. I think when I was about 20, if I recall, I was about 22 years old, and I met my mother for the first time. And so I had about a year that I had spent with her, off and on, just kind of getting to know her just as an individual. But then she would pass away from breast cancer. So I think, well, I look back now, it was during that transition after she had passed that a lot of what I got into, I think I look back now, that had been the push.
The push towards it.
Yeah, towards that area, really restless, and probably even upset and mad and angry about not being able to have the tangibles of what a mother had to offer.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So go ahead, Patrick.
I kind of that's the start of this talk. You said raised by my dad, and then he was married 6 times, and then 1, 2, skip a few later. So what happened? I need to go back to that. I need you can't just randomly say that.
Can't just run by that.
Married 6 times, and then then it was 1992.
Yeah. So are you wanting to know? Like,
so
that
you will
experience?
usually your dad.
Yeah.
So you didn't know your mom, but you're just like sometimes. Well, from what I'm understanding is you had your dad, but he kept you. Like, he wasn't the one that like took off.
No.
Yeah.
So he kept you.
Sure.
So it's like absolutely. A single dad.
Wow.
So he's a single dad.
That's
and you're the oldest?
No, I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest. Okay, so it's a single dad with how many kids at that time?
At that time?
Yeah.
6.
6.
Wow.
Okay. Single dad. And then now he moves on and meets this woman and doesn't work out, meets this woman, doesn't work out, meets this woman, doesn't work out. What do you remember going back to these women just randomly coming into your life? And were they moms? Were they just dad's friends? Was it
Yeah, it's good.
because sometimes we see it the opposite way where maybe the man takes off and then the dad and for a dad to be raising his kids and how hard that might be. What do you remember with this transition of these relationships with these other women? What do you remember being
That's
raised
good.
like that?
Well, they were always introduced. I say they are different women were always introduced to us as friends.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Even so, I look back now, I realize that when he was taking us over to his friends, they were more than just a friend.
Right.
But I didn't put two and two together early on. But you're correct in the sense that my dad was a great provider financially. We were always in a home, so all of that was pretty consistent in our lives. As far as the different mothers, I don't know. I don't think they were around long enough to experience, other than we just got. I mean, we got in trouble a lot. I mean, we're just like any other kids growing up in a home. I suppose we were troublemakers, us boys, and our sisters and so forth. But I don't recall like anything vivid when it comes to what I was experiencing from the different women.
It's almost like you didn't know them long enough to be connected to them.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
wow.
was there ever in your mind, this isn't the one, this is just next? Like as far as
No,
women,
I think it just became something that we just
just normal.
yeah.
You used
Yeah.
to. Wow.
But so I would say this, and so in the midst of all that, so my dad's his fifth wife, Alla. So she was a godly woman, right? And I met her during the period when my wife and I were separated, and so she was the one that till this day. And my dad's no longer married to her. I would call her my mom.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And our kids know her as their grandma.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So there was one. So there was out of the different women that were in and out of my dad's life and out of our lives. She was the one that became my mom. And until this day, I still call her.
That's
my mom.
great. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. So did you let's talk a little bit how did you meet your wife? Because that was really quick.
Oh, well,
So,
yeah. So
high
that
school-
it was back then. Actually, I was getting off a bus.
Okay.
Yeah, my friend, friend
School
of mine.
bus?
No.
Okay. City bus? Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like the music we started
Yeah.
at the beginning
Yeah.
should be in the background of the story.
I tell you.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, exactly.
dun,
It's
dun,
good.
dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun.
city bus.
Okay.
My friend of mine, Jesse, we were both getting off the bus. And so we're on this side of the street off of McKee Road. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bay Area at all, but McKee Road, McKee and get the other cross street. But anyhow, and my wife was on the other side of the street with a friend of hers.
Okay.
And it was like, I don't know, it's like love at first. Yeah, it was what's up. Well, back then, we had pagers.
Oh, you had pager?
We had the
Okay.
pagers.
Okay.
And it was interesting because when we crossed the street, and as my wife now, right, was walking up, and her and her friend, she had two pagers. And that was-
Whoa,
wait a minute.
It's Bay
Yeah.
Area. That's
Yeah,
Bay Area
yeah,
seriousness.
Hold
right there.
on.
So that was the conversation, it was like, hey, what's up? Why do you have two pagers?
Yeah.
Well, she used some insightful words.
Got it.
But and so we met. That's how we met.
Okay.
And it just started dating from that point on. Her parents were very strict.
Okay.
Her dad, and specifically her mom too as well. So that was sort of
How
the
old were you?
journey.
How old were you then?
Yeah.
At
When you
that
met her?
time, I was 20.
When you met her?
20.
Okay.
Wow, man. So it's just straight off the bus.
Yeah, straight off the bus.
You never
That's
met her in
that's
high
how-
school, nothing
No,
like that.
that's how it was done back then.
Wow,
Just
dude.
like, hey,
Wow. Which
I'm
also,
gonna get her number. Watch.
yeah.
Hey, that was the game.
Which also in the comments, we want to hear your favorite pager story.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you used to put? 143. I love
Hey,
you.
hey, that's good.
Put hello upside down.
143.
Man,
That's
we-
good.
Zeke has no idea what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
no,
Sorry,
yeah,
young man. Yeah. Okay.
Just Google it.
yeah.
Google it.
For all you old school players watching this video
Yeah.
today, we're
good.
Tell your favorite pager story. So
Yeah,
so 20
Yeah.
something years.
And-
My
Wow.
goodness.
And and she was really good at making she could put hello on the page.
Yeah, yeah.
If you do the numbers a certain way.
See, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Then,
Mine
then
was
you knew she was
187.
the one. Were there things growing up with all these your father and different women? Are there things that you learned from that going into a relationship and
Yeah.
things that you probably should have learned earlier? Is there anything that you can say in
That's
your
good.
marriage
Cycle,
from
right?
from the cycle exactly
Mhm.
seeing that stuff?
So yeah, so one of the I didn't even, I don't know if I actually learned. It'd probably be later on, as I came to discover and to know, the Lord now, as in the context of my relationship with Him, that God was gracious enough to bring godly men around me,
Mm.
that I was able to kind of get a picture of what it looks like, stability, like loving your wife,
Yeah.
and all of that, and that's how I actually learned how to love my wife.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
So through those years, I mean, so you met her at the age of 20. When did you get married?
Yeah, don't you asking numbers? I just know
Oh, come
together.
on.
See, 20.
Well, I knew it was gonna be. I knew.
I hope my wife's not watching.
No, I have to say this. I knew it was gonna be a number story when you started talking about the Esther. No, as the woman that became your mother.
Yeah.
You said so when she was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth wife.
And I'm
The
horrible with
fifth
numbers.
wife. But no, I mean
Yeah.
to keep track of
Yeah.
this many that makes sense. So
All right.
I'm sorry.
well,
what were you saying?
but
about
yeah,
what was
how old were you? I mean, how old were you when you got married?
I was 26, I think I was. At
Okay,
the time.
so 6 years.
so you guys dated for a
dated
while.
6 years. Okay, good. So yeah, so your wife for 6 years, and then you were dating for 6 years, and then you got married. So talk a little bit about like the
First couple of years.
the group of men that supported you, right? Because that's really what Journeyman is. I mean, we want to establish communities of support, of commitment and accountability to strengthen our lives in 3 areas: faith, family, and community.
Yeah. So I would say those men didn't even come in until when I was about 29.
Okay, 3
Because
years.
there's that period of 3 years
Yeah.
that my wife and I were separated.
Okay. Okay.
And so it was back in it would have been 2019.
hmm
Yeah, 2019
Okay.
is because that's the year that when I gave my life to
Yeah.
the Lord. But it was in 2019, 2020, up in Los Baños. That's where I was staying at because my dad was out there
Mhm.
with Alla, my mom, and so we were attending a church out there, and that's where these men just decided to kind of help me out, if you would walk me through the process of being separated and what it would look like to reconcile with my wife.
Wow.
2019,
Yeah.
like a couple years ago.
Oh, what
2009.
2009.
Okay, I was like, wait, 2019.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was like,
sorry,
wait a minute.
2000
Jose, this is called Jose, Jose, listen,
Pastor
son,
Anthony,
son,
did you
listen.
drink coffee today?
Yeah.
Jose, this is
I'll
called
get it right sooner or later.
Jose. This is called active listening skills.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. That's
So
good.
I just want to
like,
make sure that we.
I was like
following
2019. Okay, I didn't know
Man,
that,
yeah,
but
this-
I mean, that was recent,
hey,
bro. I
running
was just
with
going
this-
with the flow.
This pastor got saved 2 years ago.
2009.
Okay. 2009. All right, good. Let me fix that situation.
Jose.
No, that's good. So so yeah, so the journey of marriage, right? 26 years old, you're growing an established relationship. When did you know who God was in your life? Like, when did that picture come in for you? Was it pre-marriage, after marriage?
It's probably a little bit of both. I mean, I think even growing up,
Mhm.
though we didn't attend church or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know, somewhere in my heart, I suppose that's why Solomon talks about. God had placed eternity in the hearts of man.
Yeah.
So I think somewhere I knew,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
just was not willing to, maybe perhaps accept that. But it'd be later on in life that I began to know.
So let's journey through the walk with these other men. Like, as you started to kind of get sharpened in the areas that you needed, right? Reconciliation was one.
Mhm.
But to what were some other things that for yourself that you realized? Like maybe there were some things within you.
I think what it meant to work,
Yeah. Okay.
because I was all over the place, pretty unstable when it came to holding down a job
Got it.
and those kinds of things. So responsibility and what that looked like. And one of the things when I moved out to Los Banos, I was offered, there was some work that a gentleman from their church had asked if I'd be willing to work. It was more like construction labor work and
Mhm.
so forth. But so that was a journey of learning responsibility too as well. So I always had, it was interesting because we lived probably from where I had to walk. 'Cause I walked,
Yeah.
so it was probably about 4 or 5 miles. And so I'd walk to work,
Mhm.
walk, and then within that course of the year, then I'd get a bike. So I went from walking, riding a bike, and then about a year and a half later, I got a car. So I was
Oh wow.
walking, and then eventually I would get a job at the school district, and
Mhm.
that was the journey of stability, I suppose, when it came to work. Ended up being at the school district up in Los Banos for about 19 years.
Wow.
So yeah.
So was working was one of the main stable things for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I before then again, it was unstable for me. So that those are the areas what it meant to reconcile or to begin to work on the relationship responsibility, and then just teaching me what it meant to be a man, I suppose.
Yeah.
In a way that it was okay to have these sometimes these emotions, because I
Mhm.
was really a type of person that would sort of keep my emotions to myself. Even
Yeah.
though I look back now, I'm now I
Everybody.
know how I'm wired. I'm an
Yeah.
emotional person, so
Yeah.
and now I'm not afraid to allow that to be expressed.
Right.
So
So
That's a good point.
you say that you weren't raised with religion or faith growing up, and I've always known you as Pastor Anthony,
Right.
mhm.
right? So obviously, and you went to seminary, and you said that eternity is set in our heart. So for you, for some of us, a lot of us actually, we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. We lose everything,
Yeah.
and then we basically, Lord, if you're real, show up in my life. Or we have that saved moment. We have that that you know Jesus is pulling us out of the right before we drowned. And so for a lot of us, we have like a defining day, or maybe it was a service and there was an altar call or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're saying it just kind of gradually, there was just something in your heart. There wasn't any defining moment where you knew God was real, and then you started this relationship.
Yeah, and no, I would say there was a pivotal or a defining moment. In fact, the picture that you posted in the back, that bench, that was a defining moment. So there was a period where I think it was in 2000. So you're gonna get messed. Now I'm gonna mess you up again because now you got me thinking about numbers and so forth.
Somewhere in 2000s.
No, 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 no. Well, anyhow, so there was a period where in my life where I was talking about, there was things where I was involved in, right. So there was sometimes, or I was driving without suspended license and all this, and involved with I had gotten a DUI and so forth. So there were some moments where I did not show up to court. So there was a specific day that I had gotten pulled over, and yeah,
Pastor, that's called a warrant.
yeah, no, yeah,
I just
You're
want to
dealing
tell
with
you.
you're
yeah.
dealing with the corrections
don't,
guy, man.
Don't go around it. That's a
No,
warrant.
I was going to say that. So but I didn't know that I had.
Yeah.
So let me finish the story. So so I got pulled over, and they ran my name and so forth, and they're like, "Oh, you failure to appear. You got a bench warrant and so forth." I was like, "Oh, really? You just can't let me give me cited or something?" Right? And I was like, "No." So anyhow, because it was on the weekend, I didn't get to see the judge until Monday. So and then they ended up giving me three weeks. And so I was in the county jail. I went from the county jail to what they called the honor farm up in the Bay Area.
Mhm.
And so it was during that time so I was drying out from just the things that I was participating in and so forth. And I still remember, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he'd come by because we were like in the barracks, and he'd come sit down. And now I know it was a little pocket Bible, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea at the beginning, but
Yeah.
he's kind of reading and kind of sharing these things. And I was like, okay, I wasn't into it, and invited me to chapel and so forth. And I still remember the day I was getting out, all these guys. There was a bunch of, obviously, right? All these guys got together and they wanted to hold hands. And first off, that threw me for a loop. I'm like, I don't want to hold your hand.
Right.
They wanted to hold hands and they wanted to pray.
Yeah.
It's jail. You want to hold my hand?
Yeah,
They usually mean something different, bud.
And so we're in this
Yeah.
this circle, and they were praying and just asking the
Wow.
Lord for me not to go back to
Wow.
things that I was doing
Yeah.
and so forth. But the thing I remember is that in my head, I was like, y'all don't know, I'm going right back to what I was doing before.
Yeah.
But so anyhow, so I got released in the morning.
Mm.
Had a little I had a little bus ticket. My wife and I were separated. Got off over there. There's a place with it's called the Japanese Garden. And I remember I was supposed to meet my brother was supposed to come pick me up. Never showed up.
Mm.
It was about 11 o'clock at night. Really didn't have, I'd burned all the bridges. I really had nowhere to go, and so forth. And I was like, so then I did God, if you're real, if
Yeah.
something's going on here, can you kind of like help me out here?
Mm.
So long story short is that I end up breaking the law again because I jumped the fence into this area. It's called the Japanese Garden, and I didn't really sleep, but I remember kind of laying down by this little temple that they had on the inside. And got up the next morning, went to later on that evening, went to a church that my wife had taken, that we had went to one time a couple of years prior, and went there and had let my dad know that that's where I was going to be. And I don't recall anything of the service, but I do recall going forward.
Wow.
So I do recall that moment going forward. I was there. There's a passage, I forget the exact quote, but it talks about that, true repentance, this sorrowfulness of that leads to
sorrowful heart,
repentance. Yeah, sorrowful. And so I went forward, was weeping, and my dad showed up.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my dad. I remember an arm going like this across my back, and it was I looked up, and it was my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said, "You're going to come home to me, son." And so that was sort of the journey from that point on of where I met these men and all of the other transition that would take place in my life as far as this, as far as the spiritual aspect of it.
That's good.
Isn't it interesting that you get to a place of sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Mhm.
and you have that repentance, and you're there, and you're just giving your life to the Lord, and then your father shows up out of nowhere, pretty much,
Yeah.
and you feel this, and he tells you, "Come on, we're going home."
Yeah.
Isn't that such a physical, visual? What happened to you happened to you spiritually. Where
Mhm.
God said, "That's all right. I got you. Come on, we're going home, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have this relationship with me."
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's amazing. Now, that's what we're talking about. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about here on Journeyman. And for a lot of us, there are those definite defining moments. And I mean, you guys have probably talked to a lot more people than me, but I have yet to hear a story of, I mowed the lawn today. I went to work. I had to go to the store. Then I had to fix a fence.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I think I'm gonna give my life to the Lord now.
Right.
I think I'm gonna do it. It's always like
Yeah,
I was
true.
on my face.
Yeah.
I was lost.
Right.
I was, I was the worst of the worst. I was at the bottom of the pit, and I just praise God that God is still okay with if.
Right. Mhm. That's good.
That God is still okay with if. 'Cause I'm not gonna say it now, but my story is that too. Basically, if.
Mhm.
But you said it. You're kind of like, okay, well, here I am and sleeping in gardens.
Yeah.
And if you're real, God is okay with if. And so if you're listening to this and you're watching this and whatever you're doing, either live or driving, or like, what are these donkeys are even talking about?
We don't know.
Just just remember that God is okay with if.
That's
Yeah,
right.
God
no,
is okay
absolutely.
with if, and see how that works out for you.
Yeah.
Just encourage everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. That's a major defining moment.
Yeah.
It sounds like I really want to get into this marriage. However, I learned in my own testimony in my marriage, which is like a Jerry Springer episode, but to just be mindful of, because wife's not here,
Yeah.
and so how far we want to dig into that. And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna let you kind of set the base for that, and I'm not gonna ask many
Yeah.
questions of that. I have a story. We were together, separated, then back together, and so we never got a divorce. But
Yeah.
but if there's anything as a man in marriage, I think we need to harness that a little bit while we're having this
Yeah,
organic
no,
conversation.
Totally.
Of
absolutely.
what you wish somebody would have told you at the beginning of marriage, what you things that you know now that you didn't know then.
Yeah. That's good.
Let's just harness this a little bit. It sounds like you got married.
Yeah. So
Give us a
I'm gonna.
nugget.
Yeah, I would say this is this. I think what I was learning is how to love well.
Mm.
I didn't know how to. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't even really have a picture what it mean to love a woman in a way that she deserves.
Deserves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was a really growing process. So and all of that would be taking place in that 3 years. It's like the Lord kept on saying, "No, gotta wait."
3 years of the
So my
what's-
wife, because when my wife and I are separated, my dad takes me back to Los Banos, my wife's in the Bay Area.
Okay, so
Okay.
you're talking about the 3 years of separation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, so
yeah,
it's in that time.
It was in that time where I began to discover and then appreciate who my wife is.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Were you married at the time, or
Yes,
just
no,
okay?
we-
You were
and so-
married. So how long were you married before you separated?
Sheesh.
No,
Okay.
Pastor.
I wish my wife was there. 5 years.
Okay, so you're
That's
married
good.
married 5 years
Yeah.
and separated for 3, and then you've been back
Yeah,
together
yeah,
for
yeah.
and so this during those 3 years, you're like, it was like I don't know what old 80s song, hard rock song was, but don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah. And the thing
So
was,
take us through that.
yeah. Well, it was miserable in a sense that I thought I was ready. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's get back together here soon. But so my kids were small at the time, so I would still be going back and traveling up to the Bay Area
Yeah.
to go visit. But she wasn't really having any of it. She didn't really believe that something had transitioned or something had changed, even though I kept on saying, "Hi, something different."
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to convince her and so forth. But and so there was a lot of pleading, a lot of begging, in my own time as I was learning and developing what it looked like to have this relationship with God and so forth. So a lot of praying and asking, but the Lord kept on just waiting. We need to work on Anthony here before he could really appreciate what the marriage aspect of it. And so that's when he started bringing other men around me and learning the responsibilities. And I look back now and it was like, okay, God was setting me up.
You were taking the journey.
Yeah,
already.
well, setting me up for
Yeah.
success in the sense like, okay, when this comes full circle in the sense of the reconciliation part, you'll know now what it means to be working.
Yeah.
You could be providing and all of that, and you'll appreciate your wife now. You'll value her as a woman, and all of that. And so yeah, that was I look back, that's part of the process, and it just happened just like that too.
Yeah.
So it was like I say 3 years, but it was probably a little less than that. But I still remember I was going to go pick up the kids, and pulled up, and my wife had come out, and she wears glasses, and so none of you are familiar with the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
kinda.
yeah.
Oh, like back then it was called Eastridge Mall. There
Okay,
was
yeah.
Oh,
there was
yeah,
a mall
yeah,
back there.
Mhm.
But and they still may be called Eastridge
Mhm.
Mall. I don't know. But anyhow, she needed she didn't have a ride, and she needed to get her glasses adjusted or something like that. And so I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll take you." And so we're on our way over there. And so there was a little a period where they needed to. They were still working on it.
Mhm.
So I said, "Well, let's get something to eat." So we sat down. We're eating. And it was just, I remember like yesterday, she just looked across the table and she just goes, I can't figure it out. Something's different about
Yeah.
you.
That's good.
And it allowed me to kind of lean into that and begin to share with her what was happening. And then from that point on, we just started spending more and more time together. Then eventually, you know, the Lord reconciled our marriage, and then we would all move, or she would, all of us would end up in Los Banos.
You became friends again.
Yes.
Yes.
You became friends again.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we would all be in Los Banos.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you want anything?
Yeah, so let's transition a little bit. We're getting short on time a little bit, but so fast forward a little bit now, you finding God, journeying, discovering God. Now your wife and your kids, and you're moving in life and all that other stuff, right? And so, started pastoring when?
Ooh, 2000. There's that number again. 2000.
Well, he just got saved in 2019.
Yeah.
So. And then he went to seminary, opened up his own church, all in 4 years.
Yeah. All I know is that
Somewhere in 2000.
So we've been here for 12 years.
Okay, so that's good. So you do the math. So 12 years, minus 12 years from today?
2011.
2011.
So that's what I mean by like our numbers are all screwed up right now. But
okay. So 2011 started pastoring. Now you were pastoring, I guess, the traditional way. That's the best way to say it, right? How do the traditional way is? What did that look like? I don't know.
Right, you want to go for a long? This could be a longer conversation.
Yeah, I mean, let's just give a little glimpse. Like,
well,
so,
I could just say I could just the best way that I could describe that is that I showed up, right, and did what was to be expected. So in other words, I taught Bible study, came to church on Sunday, opened up the doors, and gave a message. And so that would be the logistics of it. Visited individuals in hospitals, things that a pastor would normally do and should do.
Right.
But so that would probably be the what was happening the first 10 years of us being here.
Okay. Yeah. And so at that looked like a brick and mortar building. People come to my church, Tuesday, Wednesday prayer or something, and then close the doors and go home, and then get a phone call, go pray for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Bible study at the home once in a while, whatever that looked like, right? So then let's talk a little bit about this epiphany. And the reason why
warning,
but the reason why I say because you have this traditional setting, right? And Journeyman is highlighting men who are actually kind of stepping into the arena of this bigger picture, I guess you would say, the bigger purpose that God has, and the bigger the bigger arena. You're taking a big risk, right? From leaving a traditional setting to now what? So now you're considered a neighborhood pastor.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that epiphany of transitioning from the normal day-to-day Sunday or Tuesday or to now looking at the bigger picture in the neighborhood. So what does the neighborhood look like now for you? What is the difference that you've seen it prior to what it is now?
Well, I think now it's just that we look at being embedded or weaved into the neighborhood. So it looks like that I always say that we exegeted the neighborhood, beginning to see, what was vibrant in the neighborhood, all the different resources, and how that we can begin to really network with residents as well, and care about individuals in a holistic view, if you would. So I always like to say nothing moves without Jesus obviously being the centerpiece of all of this, right? But also recognizing that there's more to humanity than just the spiritual aspect of a person. God wants us to care about the whole person.
Correct.
And so we're able to just use our eyes in a different setting, I suppose, and how we look at neighborhood, and how that we could utilize what God has given us in a way that's very beneficial and helps us to be moving forward in kingdom building and really helping individuals longevity. I always say, like, even our discipleship process is different than most people, most areas.
Traditional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose even our setup on Sunday morning is a little bit different. It's set up to really engage and to learn and to teach,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, we appreciate the neighborhood and what it has. There's actually on a 1 mile radius, there's 11 churches in just this
Crazy.
little area.
11 churches. That's crazy.
And is it safe for people that don't know you and know where you're at?
Mhm.
Is it safe to say you're familiar with inner city, the youth, and that there's maybe some gang activity, drug activity, homelessness, and so this church, it's not in the it's not in the heartland of Texas, or
Right.
it's not in
Del Rio.
yeah, Del Rio, and
Mhm.
the word mega is never attached to your church,
Right.
mega
Yeah,
church or
yeah.
anything like that. It's safe to say that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
no,
And so
absolutely.
in saying that, I see just boots on the ground where you're really getting in there, rolling your sleeves up and being with the community. I'm familiar with your work, and I'm familiar with the people that you work with. And for anybody listening, um, Pastor Antthony really, really does, like I said, roll up his sleeves. His staff, you have really good staff too, and to see them with the community, that the forgotten community a lot of times, and it just it's such a picture of what Jesus would be doing on this earth right now. It's such
Mhm.
a picture of that. Where do you see the church helping the community in the things that it deals with? Drugs, gangs, poverty, some of those things. Where has the church excelled, and where has the church fallen behind?
Well, the way I think falling behind is, in a general sense, is that. So go back to the earlier statement. There's 11 churches that are just in a 1 mile radius here in South Modesto, or deep as it's known for some residents. But the fact is, these buildings are underutilized throughout the week. So that's one, right?
good.
Because you're in these neighborhoods, and the doors are shut.
That's good. Big
Uh,
need.
Yeah, and so how do we utilize our what God has given us in a way that helps be a part of the fabric of the neighborhood. So we would say that we're really big in shared space. And that's how we get. So even some of the staff that we would consider, it's because of the collaborating that we do. So like even right now, as we're speaking, right, we have City Life, which is part of Youth for Christ. They have a staff individual, and so you think about the fact that as a result of collaborating, we, in some respect, there's a staff person that Center Church doesn't. It's not like we paid the individual, but because of our collaboration, they're utilizing the space. And then part of some of the individuals from the Center Church also collaborate with them, so they're in there too as well, reaching young folks
From the neighborhood.
from the neighborhood.
It's good.
And then we have other organizations that utilize our building throughout the week, and we're involved with all the schools around here. Right now, I'm coaching.
Where are you coaching at?
Where am I at Red Shield?
Where's that at? Salvation
Right
Army?
up Salvation Army, right up the street.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wonderful individuals, Maria and her husband. Yeah, so it just has an opportunity again to be a part of the neighborhood. A lot of kids are there, and then in regards of how do we move forward, or how do we, if you want to call it, I don't know if I want to use the word succeed, but how do we move forward in reaching individuals within the neighborhood? I think it's a long process. At least that's
Yes.
what I'm discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, praise the Lord, you
Yeah.
come to know Jesus and now we're good and we'll move on to the next person. No, I think it's, so some of the values for us here at the Center Church, we say relationships, loving God and loving people. right? Compassion, in other words, seeing and celebrating people like the prodigal son does, right? Commitment, looking, so doing life together,
That's
like
good.
really being there and walking with individuals, and then learning. We're really big on learning. Like, okay, so that. Okay, so now what? Just keep moving forward. Longevity. I always like to say, we have a lot of we have a lot of starters, but not enough finishers.
It's
And
good.
so
Yeah.
we what does it look like to finish?
That's good.
And and so we go. It's a longer process, but it's walking with people. I mean, we could sit here and tell stories of different individuals that we are now friends with, but it took about 2 years,
Yeah.
and the process is still ongoing, and learning. And they're not in the church per se, but we're being the church by being involved and walking with individuals
It's good.
in their lives too.
Yeah.
as well.
It's so refreshing to hear
Yeah,
that.
so good.
And more people just to finish this out.
Mhm.
For more people, for your yes to be yes, your no to be no.
It's good.
That's so important. And the way you're talking, I see it. You're not just saying this. I can see this in action. So yeah, it's part of the follow through. Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's good. So now, journeying into this epiphany of a neighborhood church. That's basically what this is. The Center Church is a neighborhood church. It's a place of resources, of connections, ministries that are coming out of this place that are doing transforming the wholeness individual, basically. Providing resources of that, providing space, providing connection, both spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. You're also food baskets and things of that sort that you've done in the past and helping out with individuals in the neighborhood. So it's really refreshing to see a center in a neighborhood providing capacity. That's what you're doing. So, man, I want to honor you for that, man, and give you flowers, as my brother Patrick says. It's better to give flowers now than it is, when you're in the graveside. And so, it's not. I understand, like this whole process of neighborhood church. You said it's a long term.
Yeah.
It's a long term thing, and I know that there's a lot of stories that can be placed upon that, right? And a lot of ideas of the religious mindset could kind of creep in too. And I'm sure you've experienced some of that as well,
Yeah.
from various folks. But I just want to say that as a brother, man, I honor you and I thank you for taking that risk. Because without taking the risk of jumping into the arena of like getting out of the religious spectacle or the religious space to really becoming Christ-like in these areas. It's not easy.
No,
It's not
no,
easy.
it's not.
It's really, really not
Yeah,
easy. So, the courage, it takes courage. It takes, it takes courage. It takes, really just a different mindset, which is the mind of Christ,
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe. And kind of seeing the bigger picture of the whole of the neighborhood.
yeah.
And as a resource, you have this. And so I honor you for that,
Yeah.
man.
And at the end of the day, I remember, I forget who said it, but it really helped me to see through. It was the statement was to be able to see through a set of two lenses. One, the brokenness of humanity,
That's good.
and then two, that we've all been created in the image of God. If
That's
we could just
great.
keep those two in front of us,
Wow.
we
That's
could
good.
be able to see.
That's good.
Be able
If
to
you're
see,
if
to
you're
see
if you're
people.
watching this later or rewatching it, you wanna go back in 20
Yes.
seconds and listen to that again.
That was good.
Let's listen to that again. Yeah, it's another next T-shirt. It's our next. I know we're closing this
Yeah.
out. I know this close this out. We kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
We kind of go around the room and kind of last questions and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know what? I usually ask people who's the most influential person and but your marriage story, I'm really have so much empathy in hearing that because it sounds like it has a mirror story to my wife and I. But I love asking married men, especially if they've been married a long time. When you met your wife, it's in two parts, and you met your wife, what, let's say, 2 or 3 characteristics about her 26 years ago? Why? What's her name again?
Maria.
Why Maria 26 years ago? If you could just give me two or three, like, because she's this, why 26 years ago? Why Maria? What comes to mind? What 3 words come to mind, or 2 words come to mind?
Her hair.
Her hair.
Hey.
It's that spiral curl with her pager.
Strike three, Pastor.
She had these Z Cavaricis on. She had these acid wash jeans on, man. It was just no. Okay, let's start again. Let's start again. Right. Right.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
Pastor.
Love it.
Don't talk about miniskirts. Okay, so why Maria 26 years ago?
Good.
I was going to say her humor.
Humor.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one,
Humor.
right? She was really down to earth, and just her caring heart. She was
caring
very caring. Right?
Okay.
And just I would say she really. I look now. She's just the way that she encourages, the way that she just.
She's an encourager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. So her heart, she's encouraging. She's humorous. It's been 26 years. Why Maria today?
Mhm.
What would you say? Why her today?
Well, those same characteristics are still here, but then also to her support and her willingness to listen, because I hadn't always had
Right.
men to be able to talk to you
Yeah.
and everything. So she's always been my best friend. So
That's good.
she listens in a way that and it gives me feedback. She's very brutally honest. So. And
Awesome.
it's very helpful.
Awesome. If she doesn't watch any of this podcast,
Yeah.
put it on later, and then forward to this part. And
You just made it all
just,
up. but-
just forward it to this part. You're gonna be good for a minute.
Okay.
You're gonna be,
Thank
you for your time, and
Yeah.
well done, Maria.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I guess my question kind of goes. My last closing question would be the same, but why neighborhood church? Why a neighborhood church?
Why neighborhood church?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I suppose why not?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But it's just being a part of the fabric of the neighborhood has just helped me to see people. I think because people reside in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So is that why not? It's because people reside here.
Mm.
So why shouldn't we?
Mhm. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
simple.
comical, but it's kind of that simple, isn't it?
It is that
Yeah,
simple.
yeah.
Why not? Why
Yeah,
not? And why
yeah.
not you?
Yeah.
Why not you? Why not you? Why,
Right.
yeah.
Why not
that's-
you watching?
Yeah. Why not you watch and start something like that?
Yeah.
So-
Because we're all at the end of the day, I think you've heard me
That's
say
good.
that we come in restless
Yeah.
throughout our lives, right? We're all restless,
Mhm.
and we're looking to find some type of rest.
It's good.
And so going from restlessness to a rested heart, I want to be in somewhere in that process where I could help people discover what it means to have a rested heart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
within
good.
the context
Rested
of
heart,
a
man.
relationship with the Lord.
A rested heart. I always tell people peace be with you, and the reason I say is because I really do want peace to be with you. Like we have millions. Some people pass up millions of dollars in cars and houses. If I could just have peace,
Yeah.
that's all I want is some peace.
Right.
And so restful peace.
It's good.
How far does that go as men, being the husbands and being fathers and being the work that we have, going to work, restfulness and peace. Sometimes we forget about those 2 words. We talk about manly stuff and I need to do this. We hear the words of provide. We hear the words of, strong. But rest in peace. That rest and peace is such an amazing words we need to remember. So thank you for
That's good.
sharing that.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, let's give Pastor Anthony a big thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
We didn't reach into our repertoire.
Yeah, we did.
But, hey, anybody hosting a wedding or quinceañera?
Yeah,
Give us a call.
Yeah,
And how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
How can they? What?
I put some on the
Put some
screen.
stuff on the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Any
you got
questions
stuff on
about?
Yeah.
There's
City
the Center Church. They're on Instagram. They're at the center at the _center _Modesto.
That's right.
You can find all the information
We'll
there.
see you guys at the weddings.
Yeah, and the address is
Somebody
posted
bring
there
the
as well,
cardboard.
so,
Yep, breakdancing.
Somebody bring the cardboard and the
Hey,
boombox.
So one hidden secret, man, is Pastor Anthony's actually a breaker, man. So this is why you're getting all the beats in the mix, man.
There we go.
He's a breaker, man. If you ever seen them do, what do they call where they flip underneath?
Gyros, man.
What is it,
Come
gyros?
on,
See,
man.
I didn't do all that, man. I
If I do that now, I'll be in the hospital.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How'd you break your back? I don't know. I was just trying to break dance.
Yeah, but man, thank you so much for tuning in
thank you,
tonight.
Pastor.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Such an
Pastor,
honor.
for being here.
Well done.
Appreciate
Well
all your
done,
heart,
man.
man, and
Well
thank you
done.
for what you're doing in the neighborhood here in this community of Stanislaus and South Modesto. It's a big blessing. So it's not going unnoticed. Let's just say that, And so we honor you, man, and thank you for what you do here in the community. And man, I'm super excited for our next guest. Not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. Man go crazy. A beautiful story of coming from really just a small little booth to around the states. And Larry Rivera, a good friend of mine, is really just going to highlight his story through entrepreneurship and how he got there. And man, it's just another powerful story of stepping into the arena and taking a risk and kind of seeing what God does through with all that, man. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Do us a favor, hit the like, subscribe button on YouTube, all the notifications, all that other stuff. Let's get the algorithms up so we can continue to bring some good content to you all. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
But today we must take a wider look. Because of modern communication and modern technology, the whole world has become our neighborhood. And we are demographically moving closer and closer to each other, and we've become a neighborhood without becoming a brotherhood.
Journeyman is a platform where men can lay down their titles, grow together, learn from each other, and be accountable to each other. Many of us deal with several problems throughout our lives, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. At times, we may feel alone in our troubles. However, Journeyman is a space where you can feel safe expressing yourself with other men that are on the same path. Journeyman is a space for people like myself who never thought they would be living purposefully in their life.